Welcome to the Neural Implant Podcast, where we talk with the people behind the current events and breakthroughs in brain implants in an understandable way, helping bring together various fields involved in neuroprosthetics. Here is your host, Ladan Yurachek.
So, Jen, we're here finishing up Rehabweek 2019 in Toronto, Canada. It was a fun time. It was really interesting.
Wow, it was really fun. And I'll tell you, what an explosion of information, because this is first time Rehabweek has been in North America. There's a lot of energy here. And it brought together 7 different organizations into one conference. So I feel like my head has exploded after being here for 3 days. Yeah.
And it's from all sorts, like you said, 7 different organizations, and it's all from all different things, from like robotics to therapy to functional stimulation, and just a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. You know, they were talking about, it was a talk that we actually didn't see, but like dealing with children and like how to, I don't know, treat children's disabilities and everything like this. So stuff that I wouldn't be exposed to normally, but interesting nonetheless, because you get like a clinician's point of view. You get more of a doctoral, like ground level sight of what's going on. So a lot of times engineers and scientists, they're in their ivory towers and they don't really see who they're making their products for. So this was really cool.
Yeah, and we got some rich, there was some really rich content in the sessions. So it wasn't just engineering science. It also had things like some rehabilitation science, and there was clinicians reporting on, and then there were a couple of really vibrant panel discussions that were going on as well.
You took part in a panel discussion?
Yeah, we had a great panel discussion yesterday about technology adoption and what are some of the solutions. So it wasn't a complaint session where people were saying, oh, well, people aren't adopting technology and how bad it is. It was more of, what can we do to solve this problem? We all agree we have it, but how do we solve it? So really interesting solutions being thrown on the table and thrown up in the air, trying to figure out how we get technology into rehabilitation.
Yeah. Very cool. So who was this conference for?
This was an annual conference really focusing on the various societies and bringing together people of a lot of different disciplines, from engineers to clinicians to industry, and really trying to find the key similar points between all of them. We had some great interviews during this event, didn't we?
Yeah, let's talk about them. We just counted up. We did 13 interviews. And we're probably going to drip this out over the next few weeks, and really cool stuff, very informative stuff, cutting edge, I would say. Let's go over some of the interesting people that we talked to.
Yeah, so just from the keynote speakers, some of our keynote speakers, one was David Pertino from Mount Sinai. We had coffee with him one morning, and we were able to sit down with Debbie Backus, who's the president of ACRM, the American College of Physical and Rehab Medicine, and another president of Society of Terry Keller from IFES. So we got to sit down with him as well. So those were all really great interviews. Oh, and in the morning we had coffee with Milos Pokjevic, who was really kind of the spark plug that got Rehabweek here to Toronto, and really talked about how he's grown the Toronto Rehab and how he brought this whole conference here. And we were also able to sit down with his counterpart, Steve Plymale, who's the new CEO of their startup company, MindTech. So that was a really fun conversation too, yeah?
Yeah, lots of cool technologies, lots of wearable technologies, lots of, what would you call it, like robotic assistive walking or robotic training, walking devices, machines.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of therapeutic robotics here. We got to go throughout the exhibit floor, so we got to talk to people like Helios Medical and NeuroCatch and Hokama. Oh, and then we sat down with the Cybathlon people talking about that event that's going to be coming up in 2020. So we really got a great preview of that fun event. But then we sat down a lot with some of the researchers from IFES. So I know you had a roundtable with Vivian and with Dion, and who else were in your roundtable?
We had one other person, her name escapes me right now. But yeah, we had just kind of a lunchtime, roundtable, and we'll see if that's any good. We'll see if that's publishable. But it was really cool because you kind of like a more natural conversation, of what goes on at these kind of things, especially with high caliber people, like very, very well respected people that have made great strides in this field. So this is really cool, like really very special stuff. And it's pretty cool for listeners of podcasts, because you get to be a fly on the wall on these really big conversations with movers and shakers that are making technologies that are going to frankly change the field, and researchers that are going to change the field, that have changed the field, and with products that will change the field as well. So it's really, really cool stuff.
Yes, to listen to this podcast series, I think will really kind of give a view of not only what's going on in research, but what are some of the latest products that are coming out. and areas where people think that we have issues or challenges in the industry and how we can solve them coming into the future. So it's been fun. It's been a fun rehab week.
It has. And I feel a little bit like, not out of my element, but this is like outside of what I usually do. And so it's been really nice to be able to, I guess, rely on you and be like, okay, you know a lot more what's going on. You know, obviously you're paraplegic, right? Or
I'm a tetraplegic.
Tetraplegic, okay.
Or
And
quadriplegic.
Quadriplegic, okay.
Yeah.
Can't remember the distinction, but I remember one was, that it was different. But yeah, so these technologies, obviously you've been in this field, you've known about this longer, so it was really cool to lean on your expertise and have you be like, oh, this guy's cool, otherwise I think without you, I would have had like 2 times fewer interviews. So I have to thank you for this too.
Yeah, no, thank you. It was fun going around and miking people up, and I think everybody had a really good time doing our interviews and how we were popping around the conference, going from presentations to panel discussions to the exhibit hall and all around from there. So it's been a really fun event. So I hope our listeners will enjoy it as much as we did.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great, and I find it's much easier to mic people up than to like set up cameras and everything like this. So people get scared with that. Scientists especially, they're a scared bunch. and so this is much easier. So thank you, and hopefully our listeners can come to Rehabweek next week or IFS conference, which is coming up in Vienna in September. That should be really interesting as well. So keep out an eye for that.
Hope you enjoyed the show and were able to learn something new, bringing together different fields in novel ways. Until next time on the Neural Implant Podcast.